If y'all would, please turn in 2 Peter chapter 2. We'll be starting at verse 1. We got time for story time, do we? About a week ago, Brother Jerry, was it a week ago? A couple weeks ago. I was asked to come up here and do it, so I said, well, I'm going to figure something out to preach on, and I said, maybe I could do something like a Father's Day sermon. Then I got to thinking, I said, let me ask Mom. And she's back there laughing. Don't laugh at me. And I said to my mom, maybe I could call somebody out. And Mom and I go to ask. So I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, there's going to be some place that's going to have an awkward silence. So before I even ask, there's like a 30-second awkward silence. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go on and ask her. And I said, Mom, do you think I could call somebody out in a sermon? And she's like, she just goes completely silent. And then she's like, you know, that old look, like, why are you asking me this? You already know the answer to it type of look. And she's like, well, number one, what are you preaching about? And I told her. And she said, number two, why are you asking me that crazy question? And I said, well, I just want to know, make sure I don't get too on somebody's toes. And so I came along and I said, you know what, I guess I'll just do false prophets and false teachings and stuff like that. So thank you for the answer, Mom. But I'll call out groups of people instead of singling out people, because that's not the type of person that I am. All right, so in 2 Peter, we're so many ums. It says in verse 1, but there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves. In other words, what it's saying is that no matter where you look, there's always going to be, especially in the Christian faith, there's always going to be false teachers. You can go and look on the TV and find loads of them. And the other day, I was flipping through and I found one. This guy, to me, it was bonkers. I've never heard of it. You had to drink this spring water thing and you automatically cleansed. The only way to get cleansed is by being saved by the Lord. So, all right, we're going to number 2. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. The word pernicious is defined as somebody that is characterized by being deceitful and of the wicked. Number 3, and through covetousness shall they with vain words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and the damnation slumbereth not. The televangelist is what they're called. They'll tell you 1 minute you need to do this, you have to become a member of the church, you have to pay to be a part of the church, when really all you need is God to make you part of a church. I was kind of scrolling through the TV a few days ago, and I found this one. It was definitely not a church of God. They said that you would have to pay them to you have the sum of money you had to pay just to even be quote unquote saved. You had to pay to be prayed for. You had to pay to you had the sums of the monies you had to join. You had to obviously pay to join because they worked on a fee type of list. So in verse number 2, flip too far. Verse number 2, it says, there were false prophets, even as there shall be false teachers among you, which in other words means anyone can be a false teacher, false prophet. It can be any one of you, your loved ones, family members, people around you, even people in the church. And it says, kind of towards the last, and it says, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. In other words, whatever they do or whatever they tell you can completely be wrong, but all they're doing is damning themselves. It's like a self-destruction, pretty much thing. Y'all seen those TV shows with like self-destruct, the self-destruct button, and in verse 2, it says pernicious ways. It says, and many shall follow their pernicious ways. In other words, they're going to deceive you however they can, using your loved ones, your family members, media. They're going to use whatever they have to deceive you, but really they're only deceiving themselves and trying to deceive someone else. So it's kind of like I was trying to think of the word. There's another word for it, but basically you can tell somebody else this, and then you turn around and do the next thing, but all you're doing is, it's like lying. You have to lie, then you have to lie and keep up. And so then your lies can start finding, especially with mom. So, so if you ever lied to your mom, good luck. And in verse 3, it says, and through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you. And in other words, they're going to make money off of you simply because you believe what they believe in. There's all over the place as you see more and more televangelists coming around, and all they're doing is using it for a way to get your money and to find other ways to deceive someone. And it says, judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and the damnation slumbereth not. And they will use the devil's deceptive ways. They're very keen. You can find them in many different ways. And one of the ways is through just watching a show of a service for a televangelist, and you can and that's even in churches, you can still find where people are not really telling the truth. They're thinking, they want you to think they are, but they're not really telling you. And let's look back at verse number 2. The pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. In other words, people only want to hear what they want to hear, not what God is want them to hear. They rather you tell them, oh, you look good today, when really you're saying you don't look good at all. And then the next minute you're telling somebody else, you're doing a good job, when really you're saying that that's such a horrible job. And it's like with mom, she does that to me all the time. Sorry. But she'll tell me that I'm doing good, and the next minute she's like, come here and do this, refix it. Just come back and restart. I guess that's why we have moms, to make everything perfect. So thank God for moms. The men here would be done. I'm going to have you guys flip over to Matthew I'm going to flip a few times. Chapter 7. We'll be starting at verse 15. So I had to find a way to kind of connect everything that I'm saying. So the only, the name of the message is The Fruits and False Prophets. That's basic name, but I tried to come up with something that would relate everything back to it. And number 15, we're starting at 15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. In other words, you may think somebody's a sheep by just how they look on the outside and what they're telling you on the outside, but really, they're telling you that just to make you want to hear that even more. They're basically patronizing you to get to their own point. Loved ones will definitely do that. There's a lot of people, some people out there, I think, get carried away with just the world entirely, so that they don't really care about anybody else. It's usually the closest people towards you that will do this kind of stuff. I have here, it says, corruption caused by a false prophet will come as an innocent sheep. So they're coming to you as somebody that you know or you love. I'm trying to paint a picture here so y'all can understand a little bit more. But they're only disguising themselves as really a wolf. So that's that saying, wolves in sheep clothing. And number 16, ye shall know them by their fruits. You shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? They're not false teachers. They're not here. They don't care about you at all. They're here to. They're kind of like they're using the devil to get to where they want to go. They would rather see somebody fall just because they trying to find the word. I can't find the word this morning. They're going to find the word deception. They're going to find anything they can to try and destroy what you were already doing. You might have already had a really good relationship with God, but they're trying to hunt a way to destroy that, which is really what the devil's trying to do. He is seeking whom he may destroy and who he may take next. Number 17, excuse me. Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. Even a good tree could also bring bad fruit. But in number 18 says a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. In other words, if you're saved, you can't sin. Or you can sin, but while you're saved, you want to limit that as much as you can. Because when you're saved, all your previous sins go away. So now you have to really watch where you're going. And it's like driving blind. You don't know which way to go or at night. Some of y'all have issues driving at night. I do. I've never drove at night yet. So it's going to be even tougher on me. So it's like driving at night. Yeah, you might have your brights on, but you ain't going to see what's over here or over here. So trying to find them. And it says, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. You cannot be of the Christian faith and then tell somebody one thing and then contradict yourself and tell somebody else a different thing. You can't say, You can't. A lot of people bring up the crucifixion and all that. They want to say, no, he was. He had nails go through his wrist, or he had the nails go through his legs or his knees. I don't know where they got knees from, but imagination, I guess. I guess they're trying to figure out different ways to obviously deceive someone. So that's another way they try to deceive someone. The devil works in mysterious ways, just as God works in even more mysterious ways. God has blessed me a lot, actually. But he will never turn his back on someone, on anyone. This morning I was kind of reading over everything, and I was praying, and I said, don't let me be nervous. Because last time I was up here, like, shivering. And as soon as I prayed, it was gone. And a little shaky, but not that much. But God, the devil will also try to manipulate the fact that you're a Christian, and so he can use you to cover his own butt. That's why a lot of times I'll be scrolling through the TV, and my mom will walk in, and she's like, don't listen to that, don't listen. So I'll sit there and flip it about 20 more times, and it'll be the same thing on that channel. And so I'd flip it again, and my mom's like, I just told you to get off of that. And I found so much crazy stuff when I was looking through. And one of them that I never really understood was the one about you had to drink this spring water things or whatever. And I'm like, I don't think that's how exactly it works. I don't think they mean really cleanse yourself. God already cleanses your sins anyways. Why do you want to put water in there? It's a material. It's not spiritual well-being. Water will never cleanse you. A lot of people, and I've understood this too from the few years that I've been in school and all that. A lot of people will perceive themselves as being someone nice, loving, caring, and in an instinct like that, they turn into this wolf. And they're only there to see how many people they can take down with them, how many people they can touch, but taking them down, how many people they can use their own agenda against somebody and perceive them in so many ways. And they'll use really, I've witnessed this too. They'll use anything they can in the world, anyone especially. Getting a little emotional. They'll use anything that they can to try and perceive themselves something they're not. So they're like hypocrites, basically. And hypocrites are almost like false prophets. If you compare the two, they're very similar to each other. False prophets will use the Bible, but then they'll configure it down into smaller stuff to make it less of the truth than of the truth. And I've seen that a few times happen. And obviously we have the special tool called the internet that lets us in and loads of stuff that we don't really need. Here Miss Rhonda over here says, oh yeah. But like it's in 18 it says you cannot bring forth evil fruit if you are of the good. You can't become this devil believing person after you've already been saved. It's impossible to do that. You can't be of God and then saved and then I'm going to become something that I'm really not. And the deceptive part of that is when they use your family members or anyone that's close to you or anything that's close to you. I've seen that happen a few times too. They'll use whatever they can to try and knock you off of your toes. So that's why I suggest staying on your toes, because I've had to stay on my toes for a while. My mom has too. And we're reading my notes. They're all handwritten, so I have really sloppy handwriting, so it doesn't help me either. But we can in 2 Peter, chapter 2, verse number 1, it talks about how false prophecy will be given to you in any way any way at all. It could come as your loved ones, the media, political figures, sadly enough. And that's where the pernicious and the tenacity comes when they want to deceive people. It's like a really strong determination. It's like an animal biting at something that don't stop until it gets what they want. And it says, I have I've wrote this down too. I said that they will judge you based on your inner beliefs, knowing you have a relationship with God. They will judge you just by the fact that you love and you believe in God. All of that's kind of intertwined with how you are as a person too, your morals, and all. And they use that to knock you down a few steps. It says Satan and his wicked, deceptive ways will be the overall cause of your beliefs being switched. So the devil is very deceptive in his own way anyways. And so by false prophet coming in and saying, then it makes it even worse because you can connect with what they're saying. Usually. But if you know that there's way out of the truth and all, you'll find that out for yourself when you're already in deep of a mess. A good tree cannot bear evil fruit. In verse 18, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. You can't be corrupt and with the devil and bring good fruit. You can't. The devil is only looking for a way to destroy that person in any way he can. He's going to destroy families, take away anyone that they can. He's looking really. He's like a vulture almost. He's just trying to see who he can eat at the most. I have a quote here that kind of goes along with it. It says, "Your words mean nothing when your actions are the complete opposite." That means you can't speak one thing and then 2 minutes later you turn around and do something completely the opposite. You can't say, "Oh, I've been saved. I'm in love with God. I respect, God and all that." And then the next day you turn around, you're not being yourself and true to who you really are. A lot of Christians nowadays will use the Christian faith entirely to really say, and then like the next day they turn around and they're not really what they seem to be. It's that saying, not all is as it seems. So one minute you could be telling somebody you're going to do this, and the next minute, or just the words in general that comes out of your mouth, then the next day you're completely somebody else. Like some people I've seen, especially on the media and on TV, they'll be out there saying, "Oh, we're in love with God," but then they're sitting there posting all this other crazy stuff, inappropriate things and all that. And the fact is that when people do that, you're only contradicting and becoming a hypocrite of your own faith. And the big thing about this is you have to watch out for those people. You need to watch out for even your loved ones. It's sad to say, but your loved ones are the most important people to you too. But those are also the ones that will deceive you in so many ways. You won't even believe it until it hits you at the last few minutes. You won't And I like to use the old saying, walk it like you talk it, to some of the children out there. If you're going to lie, or if you're going to talk and say you did something, you better walk it too. And it's like walk the walk, talk the talk. You have to talk it and you have to walk it. You can't walk it but not talk it. Let me rephrase that, excuse me. You can't talk it and not walk it. You can't. I have it written down, but my handwriting's so bad. I don't know what was going. Oh, I was writing in the dark. Never mind. But but I guess that's don't ever write in the dark. Don't ever write in the dark. My dog was staring at me. He was like, "Why are you writing in the dark this early?" It's like 3:00 in the morning a few days ago, and I said, and it just hit me. Hey, you need to work on the sermon. I'm like, oh yeah. So I'm sitting there writing. I was up at like 2-3 o'clock working on the sermon. And I got to thinking, I said, do I really need to get some sleep or what? And I'm like, nah, you'll be fine. Then the next day I was just sleeping all the time. Mama, can you not yell at me for sleeping? She yelled anytime I fall asleep, wake up, wake up, wake up. You know, you come home from school, you're sleepy, you want to go to sleep. And it's like, nah, you need to just stay up. Be working all day and be sleepy. And then like, wake up, stay up. And personally, I can't do it. So, but I was working on the sermon and I was kind of scrolling through some of the pages. In the sermon, I came to Matthew, and it was the 15 through 18, and I said, that kind of reminds me a lot about how somebody can be very close to you, and they can love you and all this kind of stuff. And they can be a good person to you and your family and all that. And then the next minute, they're just done with you. They just completely are done. And I've seen that. I've witnessed that too. These people, the false prophets especially, even the hypocrites that are of the faith, they will use everything they can to turn your mind to make money off of you. Which means I got told a story where this guy, he was... to come in his church, you had to pay a certain fine. And to be prayed upon, you had to pay a certain amount of money. You can't pray. It's not really a sincere prayer if you have to do it for money. And I was kind of scrolling through things on the internet, and I found this one other thing. I don't think I wrote it down, but it said, I saw it this morning. I can't exactly remember. But it was talking about how people will use the media to try and deter you, which is a lot of what happening on the Today Show. I mean, and they'll use anything they can to abuse and to try and rewrite what Christians are trying to do. They'll take a small thing, turn it into something big. They'll take the large thing and turn it into something, they just kick it under the rug. So as a Christian, I say, don't let somebody make you kick something under the rug that means a lot to you. Stand up for what you believe in. And I've noticed a few things that I'm not going to say, but I've noticed a lot of people are going off on the president and how he's doing things and all that. And it's like, well, if you're so mad, then why aren't you trying to do something about it? Fix yourself before you try to fix somebody else. You know, there's a song called, I done forgot the song. It's a Michael Jackson song. It's something about the mirror. You have to look at yourself and then make a change. Man in the mirror, yeah. And that is very true for a Christian. You have to fix in your heart what you're doing. You have to fix how you say things and then when to say them. And you can't let somebody else defeat the purpose of you trying to fix yourself and make something out of you. God will always be there to care for you when you least expect it. God, for me, God never let me fall. I'm blessed for that. He never let me fall to somebody that was going to deceive me. He never let me really listen to a whole lot of political stuff, which I'm glad. I hate looking at the news because there's something crazy going on. And it's like, I'd rather hear something about how many people were saved today than I would of how many people were killed. I'd rather look and see how many churches are growing, how many people are joining the church, how many people are getting saved. Who's gave their heart to God is the most important thing we should be thinking about, not what's going on around us. Because the world is never going to go away. The devil's never going to go away. His angels are never going to go away. The only thing that'll go away is your sin. And if you let a false prophet or false teacher get into your mind, they're gonna turn you and switch your belief from God to against God. And just knowing that how my relationship is with God, I've questioned a few things and why he let it happen, but I never let it deceive me and turn me against him. I never let the devil deceive me. I never let my loved ones, my family, people around me deter my relationship with God and his angels. So many ums. I never let a good tree bring me bad fruit, and I never let a corrupt tree try and bring me good fruit. But the big, I was trying to find a few other things last night too, and I said, that's just last minute stuff. I'm just going to think about something. And so I put on here the quote or whatever. It says, and this is an actual quote that I found. I forgot who exactly it was. I think it was somebody from like the 1700s that said this. And it said, talking about the false prophets and his experience with some of the people that were trying to preach. They were definitely preaching the wrong things. But it says, they are here to teach not of the good fruit, but of the fruit of the devil, whom is seeking what person or Christian he would devour and destroy next. He's only out there to seek who he can destroy. There's people, and it's sad to say that there is people out there trying to do that, even if they claim to be Christians. You can't claim to be a Christian and then turn around and do something completely unchristian-like. That's where media and stuff will get you. And I think that's all. You gonna come up here and help?
Yeah.